Hey everyone, it is August 16th, about 2:35 in the afternoon, New York time. I actually had done probably about a 30-minute video for you, but earlier in the week, but for some reason, technically the video got screwed up, so sadly that video is gone. So I thought I'd just kind of show you some examples of recent. Stock market, a lot of people are trading stock market. Maybe you've heard of a thing called the Robinhood traders. Robinhood makes it super cheap to trade stocks. Unfortunately, a lot of people are getting killed in it because it's so easy to place trades. So you're getting a lot of newbies. It's kind of like sheep taken to slaughter. Okay, but with that said, because there's so much activity in the stock market, or the Nasdaq is making all-time highs. Despite all the kinds of crazy things in the world, the stock market has been going really strong. So with that said, let's look at Google. This is kind of one of the big 800-pound gorillas, as they call it. 5-minute charts. I mean, keep in mind, in this little 5-minute chart, this dropped $28, right? Now keep in mind it's a $1,500 stock. So $28 is not that big in the scheme of things, but it's a big move, because some people day trading stocks are looking to make 20 cents, 30 cents, 40 cents or whatever, right? And then just to show you, sometimes you can get close to being oversold, but you don't get a signal. All right, probably in the 1 minute you might got it, but you're not going to catch everything on one time frame. You had a nice short here. That drops down like $20, and then it popped up about 20 as well. And I will always say this: I'm not telling you that my program's going to get you in here and out here at the bottom. No, okay, that is all to do with money management. Sometimes you get more lucky than others, and what I mean by that is this: if you go from this point A down to the bottom here, point B, it's about almost the same distance, right? From A to B and then B to C. The difference, if you notice, is that it really went up bar after bar very quickly, and it didn't have any backfill. And what I mean by backfill is, notice as the market started to go down, it had a couple bars up. It goes down, it has a couple up, right? And it has these tails that punch up. Okay, so with these tails, if you're running a tight trailing stop, you might get stopped out a lot easier. But if you ran a tight trailing stop on this particular move here, you wouldn't have got stopped out to all the way up here. Okay, just reality trading. A couple signals down here. I mean, that was like 14 odd dollars. You can see here. Some trades go in the money, but then they're going to end up basically being scratched, something like that. And it also depends on how much you're trying to get out of it. In other words, say you get down here, it does go $4.50 down. Maybe you get in there, you try to lock in just at least 50 cents or something. Okay, you wouldn't have got fill tool rounded over in this corner here, and this kind of did work its way down, but that's kind of a stair step, slow grind down. Really nice move off the bottom. So more than enough activity. I mean, this is just in August here, right? Now, this big bar, that was a gap down. The Heike Ashen candles are closing that gap. I mean, that was a big drop. You could have got filled if you took this 5-minute trade here. Okay, but of course you didn't know this was going to drop, be down $76 overnight. That's just, sometimes you would get lucky, all right? So anyway, you can see tons and tons of trades just on that Google. Let's switch gears to some recent day trading activity on the CAD Swiss 5-minute chart. That entry, I mean, this was that slow grind down. Eventually worked its way, what, down 26, is it 26 pips? Yeah, about 26 pips. Went up about 10 before it sold off. Down 16, right? And I won't lie, this is the suck part of trading, okay? Yes, it did get you in over here. It went up 13 pips. Now, the moves aren't big because we're on the 5-minute, right? But when you're sitting here for hours, you know, by the time you got to here, you might think it's not going to do anything, okay? You just don't know. Got this one here. So you're catching them both ways, right? If you've seen some of my other videos, you know by now that this will catch trend, counter trend, trading range. It can catch breakout trades, momentum trades. When I say like breakout trades, I'm talking about like when you're in congestion, okay? Let's look at the CAD Swiss, an hour chart. Let's say you don't want to be hyper vigilant. In other words, looking at every 5-minute bar that prints. Well, this is the hour. Yes, this worked, but this is like, to me, trading hell when it does all this stuff. It did work its way down, right? But this is just tough going, right? So the only way you're going to make money in this type of trade is where you use like a target exit. And what I mean by that is it might be that you place your targets at a particular landmark. In other words, if we go back in this chart, if you kind of just drew like a horizontal line here, you'll notice that the market has been gyrating around this point many times. So you might say, if I get into this thing, this might be my first target. Then your second target could be down in this area here, because previous strong support and resistance levels are always magnets for the markets, okay? Just something to keep in mind. Nice trade off the bottom. You know, if you look at the picture like this, you might say, oh, this is a trend, but is it really? Yes, it's going higher, but when it's starting to do this and working its way down, you don't know that it's going to make a leg up. So this is really messy. But despite the mess, we were able to get a trade there. You caught one off the bottom there. And I'm going to teach you how to know if this bottom is going to stick. Not guaranteed, but whether there's extremely high probability that when you get a signal kind of down in no man's land here, that it should stick and bounce, okay? And here's a situation where you're starting to get no man's land, you're making lower lows, right? Stuff like that. It did go up, right? It actually went up like 35 pips, but it didn't have a big bounce like this one. I mean, this bounce here was 115. Beautiful trade off the top. And I'm going to teach you how to find these trades. Once again, if you're sitting here like this, what happens is, like, if I draw the line here, you know that the breakout traders are saying if it goes beyond this high over here, they're going to look to get long, right? I'm going to show you how to trade off of that knowledge. And you have to remember that what happens is that there's two types of traders. The people that say if it breaks above and holds, we're going higher. But there's also, imagine people that were going short in the market. They might have put their absolute disaster stop saying, oh, it's never going to come up here. So in other words, they're selling. They put a buy exit stop here, okay? So though that price action where it spikes through, comes down, goes up again, and then reverses, it's like a double top there, is due to breakout traders and stops being taken out. Lots of small trades, right? That's 23 down, 24. And sometimes you get into trades, but this is just a mess. Okay, they do go up, but they're just grinding. So those type of trades, you might scratch, that type of thing. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's really been heating, but this is an ugly, ugly chart. Okay, yeah, we can say in hindsight we did a nice signal, and it goes up there, blah blah blah, and same thing to the downside, right? Nice trade up. But when you're sitting here, right, this would not be fun. Are you really going to survive all these up and downs? It's like a roller coaster ride. And once again, that's where you have to decide. I'll teach you 5 different ways to exit trades. Now, if you decide that you're going to get out of targets, in other words, you say, well, I'm shooting for a significant swing high. So it could be something like this. Notice the market one time over here, 2, 3, 4. 4 times it rejected that level. That could be a good price target. So if you're playing your money management, your exit strategy that way, that can help you get that. It's actually the only way you're going to get the bigger move off of this really crappy kind of price action. This was some crazy stuff here. You're not going to get filled on that bar. Okay, let's see what this looked like maybe on a 15-minute. I'm not sure if that was a gap down. Actually, just for curiosity, let's see if that was a gap down. So the way I have to do it here is take the Heikki Ashen bars off. No, I don't know what happened, but that was crazy. So if you go back to what we were looking at, the hour, there's a way you can do it. You can be filled down in here, but that's crazy thing going on there. This is one of those ones I talk about where it can be sort of like a momentum breakout, starting to go up. Let me put the Heikki Ashen bars back on here. Let's switch gears, go to an entirely different market. Brent crude, 30-minute chart. You can see here we had an arrow. But basically, if I start getting a situation where, let's say, it doesn't get filled for 6, 7, 8 bars, I'm probably not going to take it. Okay, just as a little side note. We had one off the bottom here. I will teach you why this was a kind of trade I love. There's a reason. I mean, if you're sitting here, you probably wouldn't think of going long, but there's a very good reason why. Same thing why this was a very good reason to go short, right? Fortunes have been made and lost on trading crude oil, so it's not for the faint of heart. Okay, but I just want to show you it doesn't matter what you're doing it on. There was also a reason why this level stuck, okay? And I will teach you that. So anyway, that's for crude oil. I just went to the kind of the end of July. Okay, let's look at one last video, or sorry, one last pair here. This is the DAX. The DAX index. This is a great market to day trade off of. I mean, it really, really rips. Okay. 5 minute. Let's just go back to most recent price activity. We just caught one off the bottom here. And this one, once again, I will teach you why this was a great place to get in. Not just because of the arrows. Okay, it's what I call strategic market intelligence. On the 5 minute, we didn't catch anything to the downside. We caught this one off the bottom. This was the one too, like here, normally you might be a little scared to take it because you're thinking, oh, it's sort of going up, right? Because it's scary to be going against something that seems like it's doing this, right? It's been doing that. If you just see that, you say, okay, well, it's going up. Maybe it's going to start taking out these highs. But that was a monster move down. Some counter moves. In other words, the market's moving down. Counter trend, going up, going up. There's a situation where I don't know if this one would have met all the criteria, but assumed it did. It did go down your way, but it turned very quickly, so not everyone's going to work out. Caught a big one off the bottom. This was sort of like a resuming of the trend, right? Short-term trend, though. In other words, think about it. The market's going up. That looks like an uptrend, right? So this is like starting to go early downtrend, but it's not really a down, like a big blown downtrend, right? Because now it starts to go up, and you could say, well, it's resuming that initial up move there. But then it goes sideways, and now it finally catches a move in this kind of counter downtrend. In other words, it's a downtrend but counter to this bigger one up, if that makes sense. Okay, this is another one of those, as I refer to, like momentum breakouts. And we've run out of arrows on the DAX and that. Anyway, I want to keep this video relatively short, under 20 minutes, and we will bring more of these to you soon. Have a great and profitable trading week.